When I grow too old to dream, I'll have you to remember. When I
Who invented sitting down?
It was a good idea, whoever invented it.
Who invented sitting down?
Edison.
Who invented sitting down?
Geez, I thought it must be me.
And this is the little publication. That's it.
I didn't have a background in social work at all. I had a background in the arts.
Of all the things that were explored in 70s and 80s art, the idea of aging, with the Who screaming, "Hope I die before I get old," that was a subject that he had no competition.
He would talk to people and then somehow make things out of it. And I thought, well, that's almost out there where the buses don't run,
The very bizarre author David Greenberger is with us tonight, ladies and gentlemen.
Hi, David. Hi, David. Vanity Fair.
Hi, calling for David Greenberger. It's Mark the Boston Phoenix.
For New York Magazine. And at Rolling Stone today.
The cool guy for a little while.
God, you're fucking famous. You're probably out doing Las Vegas, the Palms, or something like that,
That wasn't me. I wanted people to have this experience that would be an art experience where they wouldn't have their bearings.
David has found this way to get so much humanity into his art. I feel this very, very human touch. I feel David very close to the people he's talking to. And I don't know what happens when that's taken away. I guess we find out.
Hello.
How do you know that you're getting old? When you have lunch with David Greenberger and he pulls out a notebook.
I'm finding as I've gotten older, the age differential was there, but that was never the subject matter. So it's really about the mechanics of getting to know somebody else.
When I grow too old to dream, your love will live in my heart.
So very nice to meet you both. Very nice to meet you both. And I felt, first of all, Beth, welcome, and David. And I felt the moment, and this is in part to David's personality and being, there's a familiarity, but also the way your film presents him, I guess, or offers him to the audience, and which is like this guy, he's there's no facade here. There's no, he comes very, which is something we should all do, of course.
We should strive for that, yes.
Yeah, it should be the baseline. Should be the baseline. Anyway, but I felt familiar, and I really enjoyed the film, and it's called Beyond the Duplex Planet. And I'm going to say right from the beginning here, because I have a little professional experience here, that it's going to be having its world premiere at South by Southwest on March 12th. I'm reading, of course, at 7:15 p.m. at Alamo Lamar, which I used to go to back in the day. I used to go to South by, and congratulations.
Thank you. Super excited about it. It's
yeah,
great.
yeah. This is a great start for the film.
Yeah, and especially since this is no reflection on David either, but because I think there's so many layers to David's story. It took a really long time to get this thing done, and so David and I have been talking about it for a while, and we've been going back and forth, and finally it was done, and I thought, oh well, I guess it's done in time. I'll submit it to South by, and really hadn't thought any further than that. And then we kind of out of the blue, just a little bit ago, we found out it was in, and then it was like, oh, it's really done. It's really happening. So the train is leaving the station. I know I'm feeling a little like, oh, that happened. I don't know how David's feeling about it, but I'm still kind of reeling a little bit, thinking
Sure.
we really have a film out in the world, as of
Right. Yeah, people are going to see it now. You got to get ready for
Yeah.
the world to
World
own it.
domination.
You've owned it, right? Like there's a sense, I assume, that what you're maybe expressing, or at least partly so, that you've owned this film, that it's been yours, and now it belongs to the world. It's beginning that part of.
Yeah, I
So
mean, it's always that way, but I think in this case even more so because it's really personal. Because David and I have known each other for a really, really long time.
oh yeah,
And so this is his story, but it's a world that, we have many of the same friends in common, and, there are all these
yeah.
intersections of our lives. So it felt very, not private, but it felt intimate. It was small. And now all of a sudden it's going to be out there. So that's
And
exciting.
you're it's the first film that you're going out there with that's not about a dead guy.
Pretty much. And don't you go changing that.
Exactly.
Yes,
So
no, I was going to say that is true. We're going to be. I don't often. I mean, when I did the Rockabilly film years ago, the women were still with us, but they were,
that's true.
they weren't with me in the way that I have been doing this with you.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of back and forth between you and I on this. So.
Well, can you guys talk? Go ahead, David, please.
Oh, I was just it's for Beth. I mean, this is within the scope of how you ponder, explore, and create something. You sort of put it together. And for me, it's just sort of like, oh, I guess you can. I guess I'll poke at that. I'll poke at that. It's a curious thing. It's sort of like, I'm not unfamiliar with, press coverage and stuff, but it's like that writ large, where it's like, oh, you're actually moving into my house from the Boston Phoenix, or it just gets um, uh, bigger, and it's a wider story. It's not just the Duplex Planet. It's like, oh, I'm going to talk to your sister, or so.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you're also now inviting who knows how many people into your house.
Yeah.
Right? I mean,
the part of it that they can see.
Precisely. I only see a very small, narrow part. I only imagine you're on the top floor. That's all I can.
I'm in the converted barn out back.
Oh,
where I've got my little office. So,
yeah, and well, so can you talk a little bit about? We'll talk about the film, which is, of course, about David's journey, and from the start of when he first kind of found your. Whether or not you realized it at the moment, it almost sounds like you did, that you kind of realized your artistic purpose or your creative purpose in life, which was working at the senior home in Jamaica Plain, Massachusetts, and realizing well, there is something here that speaks to me, and you were able to listen to that, and I don't even know if it was even that much thought went into it.
I think it was. I think
it was a seminal moment in your life, obviously.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I think I came to that. I needed to have a job, but I had a deep kind of curiosity about getting to having contact with people who weren't my relatives and were a couple generations older than me. But I also had a reaction to the art school experience and the artists that I encountered thereafter, who complained a lot about not having what they wanted when they wanted it. And I just sort of felt like I always felt there was a separation between the impulse to communicate something to other people and the materials with which you do that. And I felt like that could be applied to this place here, to this nursing home. Felt like, oh, this is like paint, but it's not. Nobody else is going to see it that way, but I do. I know that I'm just sort of thinking about what part of this experience can I tell to somebody else. And in a way, I feel like there's a deeper, more immediate resonance because it's not paint. It's like human beings. So
yeah, and maybe if something about the voices that people don't really listen to anymore, or at a certain point. I mean, maybe it's changed over the years. I don't know, but back, I remember in the '80s, the seniors were just kind of like warehoused, when especially if they couldn't quite take care of themselves, right? Like in the way maybe they did when they were younger. And I don't know if that is something in particular about that, which,
I think that it still is. I think it's the part of our lives that we
You
look
do.
away from culturally. So
yeah, it's
and when
scary.
and when we do interact with them, what we're taught within our society is that they're a repository of their past. And I find that to be such a limited take on how you connect with anybody. At some point, you learn, oh, I'm from someplace, I'm this, but then you move forward. If you're still talking about where you're from, your relationship isn't going anywhere. And I feel like that's kind of exclusively, children are taught at a young age, go talk to your grandparents about what they, did in the war or whatever. It's like, well, wouldn't it be better to talk about what they did yesterday, or what
Yeah.
they're doing now? And it's about all that other stuff avoids the life experience that we're all sharing.
Right.
And so that sort of ends up being this parallel thing that's just a storyboard that's alongside somebody's life rather than our shared humanity of moving through time and slowly having our cells disassemble.
Interesting. I hadn't even thought about that the other side of the sword or coin, whatever, is like, this idea of wisdom, and people have all this life experience. But that too is kind of in its own way a little limiting, right?
Oh, I
Because
think that's very limiting.
you're right. It's all reflective of this, idea, this concept of a person, not the true authentic self, and what they are going through at the moment, and what it means to be at the stage of your life, etc.
Yeah, if you put somebody on a pedestal, you're not eye to eye with them. And also, if people routinely would say, "Oh, you talk to old people, there must be pearls of wisdom." It's like that goes against the definition of what pearls are. They don't get handed to you. So you have to sort of be around for a long time, and then you find a pearl. So you have to get to know somebody. They don't just hand you a piece of paper with stuff on it. So
right,
It
there's no
also,
shortcut. Go ahead, Beth.
yeah.
yeah, I was gonna say, and also it puts people in a box of utility. You're only useful to me because you're going to give me the pearl of wisdom. That you're not interesting to me if we're just talking. That you have to have a function. You have to be. If you're old, then you better be wise. Otherwise,
Yeah.
then you're really useless. So
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that what you just described there, Beth, is kind of a failure of community. I feel like a sense of community is, oh, I sure didn't know that before, or wow, I didn't know anybody like that before. But if you demand that they intersect with you with what you already know, you're not going to get to know somebody, and that that failure is writ large as well. So,
So, Beth, what were you trying to get at in the film, or at least heading into the project?
Well, kind of unbeknownst to me, but I think no surprise, what David is talking about is the crux of it, is that as time has gone on in my own life, I like to think that I'm someone that builds community, that my world is not small, and I have lots of intersecting circles of people in my life, and many of them know each other now, even though that's not that doesn't happen naturally. It's like you should know
You're
this
curating this stuff.
Yeah, I love that. And I know that's what I always admired about David. But no accident. I'm 70 and this stuff is, creeping up in the back of my mind. But from a very personal standpoint, I'm feeling like, oh, what does it mean to get older in this country? But I also feel very strongly that, we keep hearing that, if you want to live a long time, it's not even about what you eat or how much you exercise. It's about whether you're lonely or not. Like that, this sort of epidemic of loneliness, those kinds of topics have really been weighing on me. And I think, in the political climate we're in, I think it's really more important than ever that people know each other, like really know each other, and not have some stereotype version of who my neighbor across the street is. So those things were all in the mix. And then, but I think the catalyst is one day I was talking to David, and at the time we didn't check in that often, but he was very good about staying in touch. And we were having a conversation. He called me about another film that I'd done, and we were chatting about it, and he had just seen it. And I was telling him about my father. My father had developed dementia, and he was going to be moving out near me. And I'm like, oh, this is David knows. David, this is David's wheelhouse. So we talked about it for a while. I got off the phone, and I thought, well, that was really helpful, and that made me feel better about the circumstances ahead. But I also thought, geez, and not to say that he is a font of wisdom, but in that moment, it was like, oh yeah, he knows stuff. And I thought, wouldn't that be great to let more people know about David? And I've been aware that there have been other films, shorter films done about David, but I thought it's time. Yeah, we're at a certain place where this has changed its shape. That David is now, and we were laughing about this on a shoot, that there's no distance between David and I and the people he used to have many years on, right? There'd be this big gap, 50 years.
Yeah.
Now there's no degree of separation. We were laughing about a shoot in Santa Ana where we were talking about one of the people David had been interacting with, and we're saying, how old do you think he is? He's probably a few years older than us. He was younger than us.
Oh my!
Yeah, Jose, that's the guy who sings. Jose.
Oh, right.
That,
beautiful voice.
Out he was younger than me. We were talking about something. I said, yeah, I'm on Social Security, so I'm getting it next year. It's like, what?
Yeah.
Wait a minute. Don't crunch the numbers. It's just bad news. It's just bad news.
So yeah, for all those reasons, I thought, there's something here, and it might be really timely. Although, that wasn't my purpose, was to be timely. It was more to just reveal once again what a cool person David is, and the amazing work he's done, and how art can illuminate all this stuff. Very much that's my mission these days, is to use art to connect. And so he's the embodiment of that to me.
Again, the film we're talking about, directed by Beth Harrington, is called, I keep screwing up the name in my head, so I'm terrified of getting it wrong. Beyond the Duplex Planet. The Duplex Planet, the Duplex refers to the Jamaica Plain retirement center, the nursing home.
Nursing home. It was an old style sort of converted house. The way things were, those are all gone now. But yeah,
sure. That model doesn't really work too much anymore in this economy. I actually lived in Jamaica Plain for one solid year in the mid '80s, so it might have still been there at the time.
The nursing home was I moved in '84 from Boston.
Okay, that's right.
The home
that time I was moving there.
Yeah, it closed in '87.
Okay, I was there. Yeah,
it was right off of what's the main street?
Center Street.
I
was born in Jamaica Plain, so this is
you were.
It was right near the Dunkin' Donuts, and Brigham's was on the corner, and the Galway House, and So
do you remember where the circle where the Forest Hill Cemetery and the
parents are more
the Arboretum
and the Arboretum were. So if you went through the initial gate into the cemetery grounds, and you drove up the road to the top where the entrance was, or to the actual cemetery, right off to the right was the top of a road, a residential road called Yale Terrace. I still remember this, even though it was 40 years ago. And I lived for a while in this house right there taking care, like as I was a kid, I was in college, taking care of with a friend. We were just house sitting in a way, living in this house and take care of this family's dog and cat that were there because they had a troubled kid who they wanted to put into school in another part of Boston, and they had to move to that part of Boston in order to get the kid into that school. So we stayed in this house, and I would go for these walks in the cemetery and go for runs like and it was this crazy time. I was like such a young person, and I was always looking for Eugene O'Neill's plot, because he was buried in it.
Oh, wow.
I didn't know Eugene
I didn't know
O'Neill.
that.
Yeah, and Jamaica Plain, and Jamaica Plain, and E. E. Cummings too. Yeah,
Oh, wow. My parents and my grandparents are all buried there.
they are. Oh,
Yeah.
it's an amazing. So you really have
Cummings is buried
family
there. I didn't
history
know
then.
that. Wow. I didn't know about the E.E. Cummings thing.
I didn't either. And Eugene O'Neill, that's incredible.
Yeah, I wonder if Phil knew that, because Phil wrote a bunch of songs using E.E. Cummings poems. I wonder if he ever knew that. Wow.
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 I wouldn't have known it except for the fact that I just lived there for that 1 year, but it was I still have a lot of vivid memories of that time, and but
Well, it's that time of life too, where everything's new. So it's sort of like,
Yeah.
oh, house sitting in a dog. I guess it's what it's like to be. I mean, it's all like, wow. It's like it's
not attending classes at all. By the way,
well, I think that now goes through our 20s. The fact that being an adult is a novelty. We don't think of it that way at the time. It's like, really, I can just do whatever I want. Nobody's in charge. And then by the time you're in your 30s, it's like, yeah, I think I better tone this down and maybe be serious about something.
did you feel I want to make sure I enlighten anybody listening or watching, or to like what really gets to the core of this film. And to me, David, were you interested at the time? And we see, by the way, this idea of telling of becoming the avatar for these people, using their spoken words and then repeating them in public situations or published situations, through zines, zines, and a comic book. Well, right, comic books,
Yeah,
and
there was a comic book, yeah.
music, spoken word events, things like that of that nature. Were you trying to connect to them through there are these expressions of theirs and there's these conversations, or were you trying to give them something? Did you?
I felt like this would be particularly in the first years of it, when I was just talking to people at the Duplex Nursing Home, that the value for them was not at all what I was putting in the Duplex Planet, but it was my goofy contact with them, that I felt like I could ask ridiculous questions that would cause them to say, "What's with that guy?" rather than wondering what's with me and why doesn't this arm work? So I could be the outside thing that they focus on. And I think, as I've seen that in other people and friends and stuff, people are well aware of what their circumstance is in their body and in their mind, and anything that can allow them to have a respite from that is usually a positive thing. Like, people that that are suffering from something, it often I don't want to talk about that, and they go on with something else because it's a chance to not be thinking about the thing that they live with. And so I feel like I was basically being myself with them, but I felt like that kind of worked, and I wasn't really trying to I think, had this been the more traditional thing of, we're going to do a memoir of what John Lowthers did during the war. People publish those things of their parents, and they're of interest to the family only, which is perfectly reasonable. But they don't. People have sent those to me. It's like, here's what you do. It's like, it's not like what I do. But okay, because I like basically what those things are what makes them different from me. I wasn't in the war, so it's a book about somebody and I don't mean extraordinary in a powerful, big way, but it's extraordinary. It's outside of the ordinary, what they did. And I like the things that are so ordinary that you almost don't notice them. And that's how we feel a comfort level with other people.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like, oh,
Yeah.
You always do that? You always drink the orange juice before you have the egg? It's like, huh, I just noticed that. Oh, I never noticed it. So little things like that are, I think, give us that emotional, tie us to somebody more significantly, things that we
Humanizes,
don't
right, right.
think
We
about.
see, yes, I agree.
We don't even register them, I think. A lot
Right.
of times.
Well, another good news I see is that and he really is a good friend, Jim Brown and Argo Pictures. You already have distribution, which is wonderful.
Yeah.
Jim's great, and
Jim
Argo,
is
they're,
such a good person.
yeah, he's a
Jim
good
has
guy.
seen my last film through in a big way. It was really,
Okay.
really
I was
great. Yeah.
surprised then that you weren't on this before, because on this podcast, whatever, because I support his work so much.
Yeah, he's great. Well, it's been a while too. I mean, we always stay
Okay.
in touch, but the last, um, I do a lot of work for hire from public television,
Right. Yeah.
mostly.
Okay. Mhm.
But my own films, and you've probably heard this sad tale before, usually take a decade or more to make.
Yeah, I
So the
know.
last
Yeah.
one with Jim was 10 years ago.
Okay.
So here we are again. We've stayed in touch in the interim, and I've used Jim as a sounding board for a lot of stuff I do. But now we're getting the band together again.
Good.
We're going to get stuff
Right.
for us, so
That's
yeah.
good news.
Yeah, he's a
That's
good guy.
I hope that he'll bring that, or you all, your team will bring, it will bring Duplex Planet to this part of the state of New York, because there, I don't know if I'm sure that David knows Time and, for instance, Upstate Films, of course, would be a great place, but also we have a wonderful gem. Or Pearl for a callback with Time and Space in Hudson, New York. It's a beautiful place to show the film at some point, and it just happens to be minutes away from where I live. But I work at a radio station here and in the Hudson Valley, and those entities do advertise with us, so I could bring you guys on for a radio interview as well, which would reach a far more people, frankly, than this podcast does. But
do you know Jeff Economy? He does a radio show. Jeff Economy. He's got a radio show. Snack Point Charlie. I don't know what station.
This is WKZE, which is out of Red Hook, but it reaches all over the Hudson Valley and the Berkshires. I don't think it would. What's that?
Alana Medlock. She worked for a station there. I forget, but anyway.
Yeah, well, eventually, we do know people in common, so eventually, if you mention the right person, WKZE is 98.1. I don't think it would reach Greenwich. Is it Greenwich? Is that how they pronounce it up there?
Yep.
Because there seems to be a theme with mispronouncing or repronouncing European names like Greenwich. Although I do know some people actually try to call my town Athens, and I just say that's not a thing. I draw the line there. You can call Cairo, and what's the other one? Anyway,
Lima and Lima. Isn't there
there might be.
There's an Ohio that's
Milan. They call the town nearby Milan, near Red Hook, which is, of course, spelled like Milan, but they just refuse, these purple people. But anyway, Beyond the Duplex Planet, world premiere, congratulations. And it was a real just treat and to see it. And I really hope I can help in some way, get the word out in my own little way.
Thank you. This has been fun. This is great.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Good.
And we will bring it your way. We definitely have plans to bring it your way.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah. And Jim was just up here like about, I'd say 2 months ago, for about a week. I got to see him one night. We hung out. So.
Yeah, he comes up quite a bit, I guess, now.
Yeah.
That's cool.
It's good. It's good for the mental health. Where are you, by the way, Beth? I never got a chance to ask you.
At the moment, I live in outside of Portland, Oregon, in a town called Vancouver, which we pronounce the same way, but it's in Washington.
It's very close to the other Vancouver, then.
That's right. But I'm right now in a hotel in Savannah, Georgia, showing another film at a new film festival called Hindsight, which is the Better Angels Society, Ken Burns's foundation for documentary film.
Yes.
They have a historical film festival now.
Oh.
So here showing another.
How's the experience for you? I'm
It's
always curious
actually
because
really
some
great.
festivals, really know what they're doing, and others, well, they're learning.
Thank you. Yes.
Yeah.
Or they don't care.
I've been coaching David on that. Like, so here's the thing. Some of these are going to look good on the outside, not so good on the inside, and vice versa. But this one actually turns out to be quite nice, really good scale. First year, so it's
Right.
It's,
well, if you're still festivaling,
really
in the fall, and it doesn't sound, I'm sure by then you wouldn't probably need to, since you already have a distributor, but I do also work a little bit. I do some work with the Woodstock Film Festival. Just because when I moved up here, I knew the director, and she pulled me into doing some stuff for them. Anyway, I don't want to keep you guys too much longer. I really enjoyed talking to you both and connecting with you guys. And I hope
I got the memo to wear black. We all got.
I know, and my red shirt that matches your microphone.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's right.
There, I got red on. There, a little bit of red there.
Thank you, guys. What does this mean? I mean, anybody with all the wisdom in this Zoom room, we should know some. Please, I'll stay in touch. I'll be able to do that through Jim, and have a great experience in Austin.
Thanks.
Thank you very much.
I think
Appreciate it.
Blast.
Of course. All right. Have a good day.
Thanks a lot.
All right. You bet. Bye-bye.